Page 96, A major scale and chords. Okay, now we get into the subject of the chapter, the key of A major. A major has 3 sharps. The F sharp, which is always first, the C sharp is always second, and the G sharp, which is always the third one. So it's like we got A to A here, and we simply adjust for the sharps. So we have an F sharp instead of an F, a C sharp here, and a G sharp. So that's the keys. And as you learn the scale, you will get accustomed to using those keys in A major. When you see 3 sharps, you just play it in A major. Well, unless it's minor, but we're not talking minor right now. Just focus on A major. I prefer you approach the scales like I do in the videos. I have videos on these. You go find this video for A major. You do the beginner portion, the 1 octave up and down. Do the trill exercise, working the wrists, the whole bit. It's the trill exercise and the wrist thing that'll help you the most. But while you're doing it, you just happen to be learning the notes in A major, the fingering for it. Just 1 octave up and down is fine. They're showing the music for it. I don't like using music with scales. People say, well, can you recommend this scale book? Or would you cover this scale book? And no, because I don't like using books with scales. I want to focus on the keys on the keyboard and the fingering I'm using. You don't need music for that. Now, I don't cover the chords in the scale videos, so we'll talk about the chords, the primary chords, the 1, 4, and the 5, 7. Yeah. They work the same in all keys, so you can probably figure them out. So let's talk A major just for a bit. You know that every note in a scale is numbered. There's steps, step number 1, step number 2, etc. So in A major, A is 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, any chord built on that step is that number chord. So a chord built on step 1 is a 1 chord. In the key of A, it's here. Every other note in the scale. When I say every other note, it is every other note of that scale. Yeah. So that is a 1 chord, or an A chord, or a tonic chord. The 4 chord, 1, 2, 3, 4, spelled on the 4th step, that would be a D chord. Now we don't use the root position, so I take the A and I put it on the bottom. So I got here to here. There. 1, 4, 1. Okay. Now the 4 chord is also known as a subdominant. It's 1 less than dominant, and dominant is the 5th. So subdominant is the 4th, and then the 5th chord or dominant chord, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Every other note in the scale. 1. It's an E chord. And if I add the 7th to it, I got that. Now generally, we'll put the E on top, do over, E on top, and we leave out the B. You don't need all the notes. You either leave out the B or leave out the D. I can go here or here. But the idea is I can do that. I go down a half step just like all the others, and I use the top 2 in the hand position. Done the same way in all the scales. All the keys are done that way. Those are the primary chords in the key of A major. You'll get used to seeing them. I don't do a play with me on this. You can do all that on your own. The only thing on scales is make sure you keep them slow. Don't be trying to rush. I'm going to play real fast because you'll lose control and you do a lot of damage if you do that. Just don't. I don't mean damage as in you'll hurt yourself. I mean damage as in the muscle control you need to play evenly. That goes out the window when you try to play fast, so just don't. Let me know if you have questions.